Do a stop motion for Liz.
There you go. You're on.
Well, there's only this much anticipation, so there's.
I know. We really built this up. All I can do is fail at this point. Sounds like a product we should launch.
Oh, zing.
I'm kidding.
Who said that?
I'm just trying to make the image a little cleaner. Thank you.
All right, so set the context here. I've been in a number of conversations with, and I'm going to be very specific around customers who are both Salesforce customers and Tableau customers. And the conversation comes up as, hey, help us understand our data strategy. That's not exactly that, but you guys have been in these conversations where they're basically saying that. And they go, well, we've heard about Data Cloud, we have Tableau, we've got like these other pockets of Power BI or ThoughtSpot and maybe some Looker and whatever, and we had Snowflake and blah, blah, blah. How are you guys, like, what are you guys gonna come tell me about what we should do from an analytics and data strategy? And the goal of this is to help put in perspective that and position we, the larger we, Salesforce Tableau, as a strategic partner for them to figure out their data and analytics strategy going forward and how we fit in that. Typical audience, I'd say director, VP up, and depending on how technical the audience is, I will tailor this conversation to be more or less technical. And as I go through this, I'll try to tell you when I don't use technical terms versus use technical terms. So we've done it with folks who are just strictly line of business who don't even know what things like ETL mean. And I've done it with folks who are the heads of data and analytics from Apple, as an example. So you can tailor it to the full spectrum. All right, so generally the conversation will start with something along those lines, and I'll say, please give me a little forgiveness. I'm gonna go back in time about 20 years, actually 25 years. So my first job as a product manager, I was working at a company called Siebel. And we were the first CRM company before Salesforce ate our lunch. But the interesting thing about all CRM applications and almost every business application is they share a really simple common architecture. And there's a database, there's a workflow engine, and there's a UX. And the reason why companies bought, and even to this day buy Salesforce or had bought Siebel or use SAP for order management, or God forbid, Concur for expense management or any of those other products, is because your users enter information here, they follow a very specific workflow which enables compliance, repeatability, ensures that you're delivering, in the case of CRM, a consistent experience to your customers and how you manage cases or how you manage accounts. And it's about getting data in to the system. That's the whole purpose, so that you can manage this and people can deliver this in a compliant, consistent way. I remember when Tom Siebel first started Siebel, he was like, everybody's out selling their own way. It's not repeatable. You want to copy the 3 best people and make them all sell exactly that way. That's what we can do. We can basically embed your 3 best sales processes in this workflow, and then everybody will sell exactly that way, and you'll close a lot more deals. And when your sales rep leaves, as they often do, all their contacts and information will be saved in this database. So you, Mr. Leader, now can earn a lot more revenue. That was the selling proposition. Ironically, not that much has changed in terms of selling Sales Cloud. Here we are 25 years later. But if you think about where the world is going and where consumer applications have gone, it's not exactly this. And in fact, I'd say that Tableau was one of the ones who started this idea, and that is that, hey, well, if I have this information, I can create this thing called a data warehouse. And on top of it, I can put a BI tool that has, and then I can build these dashboards. And I'd say about 10 or 15 years ago, this became really in vogue, and Tableau ushered in a new era when you're actually really beginning to make this happen pervasively across your company. The whole point of that was so that management could see and report on how people were performing. You could understand how your business was performing in a graphical way, in a visual way, and you could analyze things that were right. And then you could fix your workflow. You could change the workflow. If things weren't delivering, cases closed fast enough, or opportunities closed quick enough, or expense reports are having fraud. You could analyze this, and then asynchronously go back and change your workflow or your UX so that your business would run more efficiently. But this was run by leaders, and this was an asynchronous process. And we have lots of dashboards today. And this is usually what I ask the executives, do you need more dashboards? And every single one of them will be like, no. No, I don't need more dashboards. But do you make all your decisions with data? No. So you don't make all your decisions with data. You wish you had more data, more analytics, but you don't need more dashboards. Is that? And then generally people are not in their heads, and you can use whatever talk track you want, but that's generally the concept. So what's wrong? What's wrong with this picture is that your sales reps and account executives, account managers, and if you're talking to financial services, I'll say wealth advisors. If you're talking to a retail person, I'll say retail clerks. I think really, is this the best use of them to enter data? Like, shouldn't we be giving them insights so they can provide better experiences with their customer? Like, why do we have to do this and do something asynchronously? Shouldn't you, Mr. Executive, be getting insights in the flow of your work versus going over some dashboard and trying to find out where the latest insight is? Shouldn't we be providing you something in the application that you use on a daily basis? Well, that's exactly what we're doing at Salesforce and Tableau. And we built something called Data Cloud. And on top of that, we have these products. And depending on the situation, I'll either write in Tableau or CRMA or both, or I'll just write analytics. And Einstein, if they're specific, I might know something else. And we built a new user experience that is embedded inside of the flow. Because dashboards, you just told me, aren't necessarily the experience you need to deliver things. We need to deliver an insight inside the flow of people's work. There's something else we did. And that is, we recognize a big challenge of this. There's this process here, it's called ETL. Extract, transform, and load. If it's really cool, you could call extract, load, transform, ELT, whatever. It's all hard. And then if I have a technical person in the audience, I'll say, hey, so last time, this is what I had with Apple, your territory's changed. How'd this work out for you down here? How long did it take for you to fix your ETL so your warehouse structure could reflect your new territory? And they just laugh. We're still doing it. When a rep leaves, which happens almost every single day, how long does that take to reflect here? When an account manager or wealth advisor changes accounts that they own, how long does it take you to reflect that over here? Each time something changes inside the way you run your business, which is almost every day, you need data engineers and really smart people to fix your ETL so they can reflect that in your warehouse so your analysis and your dashboards is right. Which is another reason why when you look at your dashboards, half the time you don't believe what it says, because it doesn't reflect the way your organization is running. But what if you knew exactly what was happening here and you could automatically make that reflected over here? So only Salesforce can do that. We know when someone moves his territories. We know when your territory gets realigned. We know when ownership changes. We can automatically reflect that over here. Only we know that. We are uniquely positioned to create a structure for Data Cloud that reflects exactly what's happening inside your Salesforce database. And we can make that happen in real time also, not once a day or best case once every couple of hours. You do it right now. only product in the market that can possibly do that. So that makes us very uniquely positioned to do that. The second thing is, we're also uniquely positioned to provide an insight that we understand either through any of these wonderful applications inside the flow of your Salesforce users. Because we know exactly how they're using the product and exactly where to place those insights. We have to develop a new user experience. We recently launched something called Pulse. We'll show you that in a second from a demo. And that is a different way of engaging your users inside of Slack or inside of Salesforce or inside of Teams, wherever you want. Only we can do this because we happen to know this stack. We happen to understand this database. I'm not saying you can't pull your data out of here and put it in Snowflake and redo it. You're doing it today. We just talked about that. But you're not doing it this way. You're not doing it this speed. You're not providing this insight to your users. And that's where you want to go. That's the future of CRM. It's about insights out, not just data in. This is where, in a couple of years, you hope these people aren't adding any data. We're capturing it from Slack, you're capturing it from the phone conversations, you're capturing it from the email. It's going to automatically put into the UX. Have you seen some of the Copilot stuff? The Sales Cloud and Service Cloud are doing? These people have to do less and less work and spend more time getting insights and providing better experiences. How are you going to provide those insights? Not that way, this way. You say, whoa, wait. We have a bunch of data that's not in Salesforce. I have, that's not good.
Oh, damn.
Yes.
You're on such a good
Oh,
roll.
Yeah.
I have order data over here. I have digital data. I have my
Telemetry.
product master. I have my inventory. And they're in like, maybe they're all GCP if you're, or Snowflake if you care to, believe that. But there are lots of different places. We're not going to ask you to move them. We also declare with understanding that you have to fit into an existing structure. So we have something called zero copy or zero ETL or no ETL, which means that we can see what's inside of Snowflake or Databricks or GCP or Redshift, and you can ask questions or provide insights across both of those without moving the data. Why don't you want to move data? Oh, we talked about that. Moving data is hard, it's expensive. Let's leave the data where it sits after you've already got it in a good place. People ask, oh, are you going to do partners with others? And my response is, look at the market share vendors, market share leaders for data cloud, and with data lakes in the cloud, and you can guess who we're going after. We're all building partnerships with them. We just announced them. I just named the top 4. At that point, the share starts to really tail off. Maybe even Azure. Maybe. But the point is, how do you speak to Data Cloud? You speak SQL. Not DAX, not LookML. You don't learn a new language. We built this in a very open environment. You want to see everything that's in there? Wide open. We're not interested in becoming the data warehouse of the future. We're interested in becoming your customer insights platform. And we think we're uniquely positioned to do that. Because we can do this. And we believe your users are going to benefit from it, your sales reps, your service agents, all of those folks are going to benefit because we can do this in a unique way. I'd also argue that this UX we built, when I show you the Pulse, we show the demo, it doesn't have to be just in Salesforce. It's built so that it could be in Teams, in Slack, in some point, Workday, or Concur, or Coupa, whatever it might be. If you want to provide those insights out to them, you can inject it there too. So anything that has to do with customer, I'd argue you can get this way. So again, this conversation is based on the big assumption of talking to a Salesforce environment. And that's why this conversation works, because we are uniquely positioned to do this in a way that others cannot. Sorry, answer your question 1 second. And by the way, this right here, this zero copy, and we understand all this stuff, we understand all this changes happening. A few of that things happen in Data Cloud now, but a lot of it's coming in 248 and 250. Literally, when I add a custom field today, we will prompt them in Data Cloud right now, would you like to add this to the DMO? That's what happens today. Get that to happen through Fivetran and Snowflake. No, not gonna happen. Territory changes, hierarchy changes, that's all stuff we're working on so that when these things change, this thing will prompt the data cloud person, hey, would you like to do this? This is what you probably should do. We can do that because we understand the line data structures. No one else can do that. And we can do it, literally they're gonna be doing 60 millisecond replications on the 14 top tables in 248, and then there'll be next 50, next 100, next 1,000 pretty quickly after that. So that means replication from here to here in under a second. That gives us a lot of power to sell this. And the important point is no one else is building a UX that's built on this. So this is where we deposition Power BI. I love Power BI. Unfortunately, we chose the same name. Copilot, it's great, creates lots of more dashboards. It's exactly what you need, right? You just told me you don't want that. You told me you want to see this. You showed the Pulse demo, it's a completely different conversation. And that's what we're trying to do. All right, questions, objections, all the rest. Yeah.
So maybe it's like a little too far in the